Okay. Let me know if my voice is clear.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So, hello everyone. This is Vedangi Singh. I'm a mental and emotional well-being therapist, and I welcome you all to this series of self-help webinars, which is being organized for UPSC aspirants so that they can take care of their mental and emotional well-being as they prepare for the UPSC exam. Right? And in today's webinar, we are going to delve deeper into a topic which is not talked about as often, but is something which affects lots and lots of UPSC aspirants every year during the course of their preparation. So today we are going to look into the question of love, relationships, and UPSC preparation. If you have any questions on this topic, please wait till the end of the webinar where I will be taking up the questions that you might have. And to begin with the webinar, for this webinar, we have Rajat with us today, who has joined us as a representative of UPSC aspirants, and he will be asking questions on your behalf. So over to you, Rajat, and we can start.
Okay. Thank you. So my first question is, like recently we have seen the movie 12th Fail,
Mm-hmm.
and there we saw that Manoj and Shraddha met during the UPC preparations. They fell in love, they cracked the UPC exam, and got married also.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, we also see so many relationships that begin during the course of preparation, and a lot of them fail. So how do you see this?
Okay. So the movie 12 Fail is inspirational in many ways, right? The resilience that Manoj shows in the face of extreme adversity was something very, very inspiring for all of us, and it's very, very moving. Apart from Manoj's struggles, the movie also explored, his relationship with Shraddha and how they had a happy ending. And I'm sure a lot of UPSC aspirants derived a lot of hope and inspiration from the movie as well. But it is important to acknowledge that most of the relationship dynamics that take place in the context of UPSC does not generally follow the same pattern. Uh, you might have heard this, this saying that goes around very often, that UPSC relationships ends with the UPSC dream, right? Unfortunately, there's some truth to that. After having spoken to a lot of candidates who came for either therapy or candidates who spoke to me during the went out sessions, or even during my own observations while I was preparing for the UPSC exam, I have seen many examples of heartbreaks and how, the relationships that fructify during the UPSC preparation, they kind of break down, right? And I'm not saying that all relationships formed during the UPSC cycle are doomed to fail. It's just that the odds are a little bit unfavorable, and it requires a lot of emotional maturity and sensibilities from both the partners for the romantic relationships to actually continue beyond UPSC preparation. And so that's why, even though it's not always it's not the worst case, it's not like every relationship will fail, but a significant portion of them do tend to fail. So deriving an inspiration from the movie, while that
Okay.
is fine, but at the same time we need to be mindful of the actual realities of what is happening.
So, why do you think this is the case? Like, what's so much different from other things in our UPSC relationships?
Okay. Uh, so the reason that I'm saying that the relationships that happen during the UPSC preparation, they are a little bit different from how relationships happen outside of it. Is first the first reason would be that the future of the relationships, it is often highly contingent upon the results of the two partners. One partner getting selected, but the other not getting selected, it kind of changes the dynamics of the two partners, right? So recently, I'm working with a case where I'm working with with a female partner who met somebody during the time when she was preparing for the UPSC exam, and the guy got selected, and while she did not get selected, and she is preparing for another alternative career right now. And they both are due to get married very, very soon. But she resents, a part of her kind of resents him a lot, and she feels that he getting selected while she was not selected, that kind of his aura, or his personality is kind of overshadowing her own her own personality. And that is why the dynamics between the two the two people, that has quite changed a little bit. and she feels that that even though she really loves him, and that she really wants to marry this person, but she still feels like there's a part of him which is really resentful towards him. And so similarly, there are other cases as well where you can see similar kind of stories play out. So that is why, the results of the two people who are in the relationship will also have an impact on on the future of the relationship. And it requires a lot of maturity, a lot of patience, and acceptance, and a lot of love for things to actually work out in such circumstances. Moreover, the probability of both the partners getting selected in itself is quite low. And even if they do get selected, getting the right kind of service, getting the right kind of cadre, all of these things are also challenging, right? And so, things have to be just at the right time, at the right place for things to work out. So while I've also seen, relationships which have kind of worked out to the best of manners, but again, there are certain challenges, and there are more relationships which face challenges rather than the ones which actually which sail through, right? And even in cases where let's say both the partners do not make it, even the relationship, those kinds of relationships may actually face some struggles, especially when those both the partners kind of start to resent each other, believing that their relationship distracted them from their goal. So those kinds of things again create a problem. Moreover, after the UPSC preparation has ended for both of them, they might both move into different careers, which might drift them apart. So these kinds of things are there, which might lead to the relationship kind of breaking down eventually. Another reason that I would see is that entering into for a lot of people, entering into romantic relationships during the UPSC preparation is like a guilty pleasure, right? There's always this fear that if I get involved with someone, then I'll get distracted from my preparation. One bad decision and it ruins your entire 1 year, and it can cost you one attempt, right? So the cost that we pay for getting distracted is much more than what you would pay outside, right? So outside of UPSC, typically, we don't find relationships costing someone their career opportunities, unless and until, of course, if somebody's in a toxic relationship and it has other negative spillovers, that is a different question. But in general, we do not very commonly see keep outside of UPSC relationships costing people their career opportunities, right? So all of these reasons kind of make it difficult for the relationships that are formed during the UPSC preparation to survive. Um, and additionally, there are many aspirants who would actually prefer to have low commitment dating, or they would seek relationships with no strings attached. And the idea here is to so that they can fulfill their need for intimacy without putting in a lot of investment and a lot of commitment. So, so when the when the end outcome in itself was a short-term relationship, then there's no point even talking about the future of the relationship as such. But yeah, these are the kind of factors which make it a little bit more challenging for the relationships to actually survive after the UPSC, or even during UPSC for that matter.
Okay. So you have highlighted all the challenges
Mm-hmm.
and we have seen the negative side. So does that mean there is no hope for love and companionship in the UPSC journey?
Of course not. I'm sure, and I'm I've even during my own UPSC preparation also, I've seen many examples where not many, but yeah, I've seen a couple of examples where romantic relationships which are formed during UPSC, they not only survive, but they are also flourishing, right? And I'm sure there would be many other examples as well. And navigating relationships in itself is a slightly challenging task. If you're preparing for UPSC and you're trying to navigate through the relationship challenges as well, it becomes a little bit more challenging, right? So think of it like building a house in rough weather. So the environment makes it harder, it might make it more difficult, but it doesn't mean that you can't build a house. It just requires a little bit more planning, better tools, and a little bit extra effort from both the sides. And I would in fact say that some of the relationships that begin during UPSC preparation might actually go on to become incredibly strong. Why? Simply because the two people who are involved, they know how to support each other through tough times, right? And they develop the patience, the empathy, and the teamwork that is required for any relationship to work out. So these qualities that form the foundation of any successful relationship, those relationship those qualities are do get a chance to really to really blossom during the course of the preparation as well. So I would say that, like, while it is possible for relationships to actually survive the UPSC journey and everything, but we need to be a little bit mindful and we need to acknowledge that there are risks that are there, risks which are more pronounced within the UPSC context as compared to outside of it, right? But again, like, I would still say that for any relationship to actually survive, it requires a certain level of commitment from both the partners, right? It requires a lot of patience and certainly a lot of emotional maturity from both the sides. And I'm again and again, I'm emphasizing emotional maturity, patience, because these things are really that important. In fact, like, just like UPSC itself, I would also add that even, like, some bit of luck has to be on your side for things to exactly fall in the right places. So of course, like, with everything else, you also need luck on your side for any relationship or any companionship to actually, like, to have to become more resilient as the time passes.
Okay. So, like, till now you have spoken about commitment. Then you have also highlighted about that there are people who prefer low commitment relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also personally observed many times that the people go for one night stands, friends with benefit, situationships. So do you think these are healthy in our preparation time?
Okay. Um, so I would start by saying that all of us have needs for love and intimacy, right? And if you've been in the UPSC cycle for some time, these needs can remain unfulfilled for an extended period of time. And add to it the pressures of the competitive environment, and these needs can become even more pressing and even more exaggerated. And different people have different ways to cope with this, right? So for some people, they might prefer seeking low commitment relationships, including the casual relationships, as you talked about, the one night stand, the friends with benefits, situationships, and so on and so forth. So some of them may actually prefer casual relationships to, like, as an easy way to fulfill their needs without the perceived responsibilities of being in a serious relationship. But for me, like, if you ask me, for me personally, I feel that, like, casual relationships may sometimes reduce the depth of human connection, right? In some cases, it might even dehumanize the person, like, the other person who's there, by treating them as a means to an end rather than as an individual with complex feelings and emotions. And that's why, for me personally, casual relationships are not really aligned with my values. Having said this, I know there are a lot of people who might look at it differently, right? And but I think, like, whether casual relationships are healthy or unhealthy, it will ultimately depend upon the mindset and the intention of the people involved. They can be healthy if, like, if both parties have clearly communicated their intent, they are clear about what their expectations are. They, let's say, they respect each other, and they're able to maintain healthy boundaries with each other. Then, like, it might actually be the case that the casual relationship that they are in, it might be a healthy relationship for them, right? So think of it like, attending a party. There are many ways that you can enjoy yourself. Let's say if you're choosing to have drinks or if you're choosing to have liquor, it's just important that you consume it more responsibly and you should know your limits, right? Similarly, in casual relationships, it is important that the two people are engaging in a very responsible manner. That you're not only concerned about your own well-being, but you're also looking at your partner's feelings as well. So just, like, just that caveat I would add, and otherwise, like, it again, like, ultimately it will depend upon the mindset and the intention, I would say.
Okay. So like we are talking about casual relationships
Mm-hmm.
and you have like highlighted few things. So what are the appropriate ways of engaging in casual relationships during UPSC preparation?
Okay. Um, all right. So I think the first most important thing I would say is that informed consent of your partner. And I'm using the word informed consent because some people may have a tendency of not disclosing their true intentions of wanting only a casual relationship, right? I've seen those kinds of cases as well. So it is very, very important that both the parties who are there in the casual setup, they're aware of each other's intentions, right? And moreover, consent is not just about the physical boundaries as such. We need to be respectful about our partner's emotional boundaries as well, right? I've observed cases where one partner enters a casual relationship in the hope that, being in the relationship with their with this particular person, they can eventually, make the partner want more, and they can turn the relationship into a more serious one, right? And I would say, while this can happen, but if you're going with this expectation in mind that I'll magically make the other person want more, if you're going in with that expectation, then you're more likely to hurt yourself, right? And I've seen so many cases of this thing happening, right? So lack of clear communication with each other's intentions is, is one of the most important reasons why casual relationships tend to go into, they end up disastrously, right? At least for one of the partners, if not both, right? So having an informed consent is, first and foremost thing, which is the most important, right? Secondly, I would say, I think mutual respect is also something which is very, very important, especially in a casual setup. It is very, very important that you remember that the other person that you are with is also a human being with feelings and emotions, right? And as as I mentioned earlier, that we should not be treating the other person as only a means to, to get away from stress or something. Let me just, okay. Please keep yourselves muted so that we can have the webinar going on smoothly. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so where was I? Mutual respect. So yeah, it is very, very important that the two partners have that mutual respect for each other, right? And some little, both the partners treating each other with some dignity, with some respect, and it's very, very important that you avoid relationships purely as an escape from stress, right? It kind of dehumanizes the entire relationship, and it's something that not very good to go with. Uh, and just I've even in fact seen a case where one of the partner was in one of the partner was seeking more respect from the other person while they were while they were casually dating each other during the UPSC preparation. The other person kept saying I respect you, respect you, but the actions of this person were not aligned with how you respect another person, right? So just saying I respect you might not be enough. Your actions need to reflect the same thing, right? So again, whether you want to engage in casual relationships or not is ultimately your choice, but do it in a more respectful, in a more human manner. um and finally, I would say that it is important to keep your keep your goal of clearing the UPSC exam in perspective, right? Whether it is this goes whether it is a casual relationship or a serious one, whichever the case may be, you need to have that clarity, and you need to have that prioritization straight in your mind that you're here for clearing the UPSC exam first and everything else later, right? So while whether you're in a relationship, casual, serious, whatever, so while you're in a relationship, while that is an important part of life, but you also have your perspectives right, right? You need to be mindful of how your relationship is impacting your progress, and you need to take corrective actions whenever there's a need for that. So let's say you recognize, uh, you recognize that lately I've been spending way too much time on my phone. Let's say I'm eagerly waiting for my partner to text me or something. These kinds of behaviors might be an indication that you're probably getting overly invested in your relationship. Again, whether it is casual, whether it is serious one, if these kinds of things are happening where you're overly getting invested in the relationship at the cost of your UPSC preparation, that might be an indication of that you need to start looking at it in a more you need to become more alert about the situation that is unfolding. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, okay, I get it. So, but what if, despite all efforts to maintain boundaries and clarity, one person starts
Can you
getting,
come again? But what if?
despite all efforts to maintain boundaries and clarity also,
Hmm.
one person is developing feelings while the other doesn't.
Okay.
And we have seen many situations like that. So, how we should like handle such situations without not causing any harm to other person.
Only if I earned a rupee every time this has happened, and every time this, people come to me telling me the exact same things. So the truth is that, feelings are unpredictable, even with, with all the measures that you can take and with the best of intentions and, the most clear communication that you can have. One person developing feelings is always a possibility, right? And more often than not, this will eventually happen in any casual relationship, whichever way whichever way things are going. Even if both the partners agreed from the very beginning that both of them are only and only going to be there for X number of period, for X period or whatever, whatever the terms of those relationships are. But it is very, very common for people to, at least one of the persons to end up catching feelings, right? And so now it becomes quite important to understand why this actually happens, right? And if so why this happens is often connected to a more deeper psychological concept, which is called the psychological void, right? And let me explain this a little bit in more detail. So when we're in a very high pressure and isolating environment like UPSC preparation, we often end up feeling emotionally drained, right? And it, UPSC journey is so isolating and so lonely that kind of makes us feel emotionally drained from within, right? And in order to have that single pointed focus on only and only UPSC, we kind of deprive ourselves also of other aspects of life that provide us with more fulfillment. So when we're depriving ourselves of fulfillment, this creates an inner emotional void within us, right? And now when a casual relationship enters the picture, so it can temporarily fill that void with a false sense of affection, right? And that's when we start craving for more, and we end up confusing these emotional cravings for more, for more romantic feelings. And now, whether you are the one who's catching feelings or you are the one who's partner, who observes that my partner has started catching feeling for me in the relationship, in both the cases, it is advisable that you realize that the dynamics of the relationships have changed, right? And once the dynamics have changed, you need to, especially if it's a casual relationship, you need to withdraw yourself from the relationship to minimize the hurt that, to minimize hurting yourself or the other person. And so if you are the one who caught feelings for the other person, uh, so there's always this question whether I should express my feelings to the other person or not. So while that is, again, that is a choice that you need to make for yourself, and it is very, very contextual, so I cannot say whether you should or you should not. That will totally depend on the context and how you feel about the entire situation. But you need to be respectful of whatever your partner's decision is, and be ready to walk away if they do not reciprocate, right? So again, in the casual relationships that I have observed, I would find people who are trying to cling on to the relationship simply with the hopes that with time the other person might change their mind and they might want to, they might, even the partner might start wanting more, right? But if the partner has clearly spoken to you and told you that this is not going to be the case, you need to be respectful about for them towards them as well, right? So you need to respect their decision in the, in whatever the decision is, whether it is in your favor, whether it is not in your favor. You need to be respectful about that. On the other hand, if if you are the one who observes that your partner has caught feelings for you, uh, while you do not share the same feelings, it is very, very important that you don't mislead them, or don't, shove the issue under the carpet just in the hopes ki, since I'm not addressing, or since this issue is not being addressed, so we can just move on and forget something of that sort has happened, because that will ultimately lead to many more problems eventually. uh, and additionally, in some cases, either of the two partners may get stuck with intense negative emotions, let's say, um there's a strong sense of shame or strong sense of guilt or anger in these kinds of situations. So in these kinds of situations, when if you or your partner get stuck with these intense negative emotions, I would highly recommend that you should work with a therapist or any other mental health professional that you can trust, to help you address those issues, and especially don't try to suppress these issues. So a lot of people who come for the vent out session, or when they come to me and talk to me, they often talk about how, like you know uh, about the feelings they feel after they have broken up from their relationships, right? And they they try to shove it up in the carpet, in the sense that they'll try to they'll ask me of ways how they can not feel these feelings, right? So this is not this is not healthy. This is not a healthy approach to go, that you're trying to avoid the feelings that you may be experiencing. If those feelings are very very uncomfortable, it is best that you work with a professional. And in any case, whether you work with somebody or not, it is very very important that you don't suppress them, right? Because that has its own bad repercussions for you.
Okay. So, like you have mentioned about void, I truly resonate with the void that you mentioned, and I'm sure many of us have experienced this void during our course of preparation because it's very lonely process.
Hmm.
So, is there any way that we can try to fill this void?
Okay. So in terms of self-help, I would say that the first thing that you can probably do is journaling. So why does journaling help? So journaling will basically help you to uncover your patterns of unfulfilled emotional needs. But it's not like you start writing a journal today and magically you will know, okay, okay, like these are my unfulfilled emotional needs and this is what I need to work with. It's generally after a minimum of 3 to 4 months, you need to be continuously journaling your whatever is going through in your mind. And when once you look back and once you connect the dots, as you look back at whatever you had journal, you'll be able to uncover some of the patterns that these unfulfilled emotional needs might be there. So that is one way of first of all identifying what is that void, or where does this void exist in your life, right? The second thing I would say is that practicing gratitude becomes very very important. Why? Because it will shift your focus from what is wrong in your life to what might be going right, right? So whenever we are giving gratitude, we are giving gratitude for the things which are good in our life, right? And a good way to actually practice gratitude is saying gratitude for not experiencing the worst things. So let's say I'm grateful for the fact that I don't I did not meet I did not get into an accident today, right? It's something to we don't usually think about, but it's something very very important, that I did not had any mishap today. Even this is a very 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 important thing to be grateful about. So we're saying gratitude for things let's say I'm grateful for the fact that I'm not living in poverty, right? So these are the things which can help you shift your focus from what is wrong in your life to what is actually going right. And this is very very important as well. So it can shift your focus, when you shift that perspective, it will eventually help you to recondition your mind into thinking in more positive terms, right? And apart from these tools, I would say that let's say if you realize that this void is arising out of an unfulfilled need, uh, so it becomes very very important that you're incorporating more emotionally fulfilling activities in your life as well. So let's say if let's say you find more meaning and more own sorry more meaning and more purpose in your life by, let's say, volunteering. So whenever you can get time, you might actually go ahead and volunteer some of your time. And I understand that while you're in the UPSC preparation, these things might be difficult. But yeah, in whatever small ways that you can incorporate some emotionally fulfilling activities, that will be very very helpful. And is there anything else?
I think that's
Yeah,
this is
so
very
hmm.
insightful there. Like, I'm very glad. I should book an appointment.
I would
So
also
let
say, so before we continue, I would just add this point, so there might be times that you might find yourself feeling a sense of emptiness within you, which despite you trying your best, you're not able to get over it. Or you might feel that I'm stuck in one in this pattern of seeking unfulfilling relationships, right? You might find people who exit one relationship and then they enter into another relationship which is as doomed as the first one, and then they would exit that and then they would enter into a third relationship which is again as doomed as the first one. So if you're seeing those kinds of patterns happening, or let's say as I mentioned already, if you are feeling very very empty from within, or if you're stuck with obsessing about something, like, let's say if you're just stuck with obsessing uh, about your partner a lot, then all these things might be a sign that you should probably, this might be a sign of the void at play. And for these things, it might be a better thing to, not just rely on self-help, but also to seek professional help. So yeah, like that was just one thing that I wanted to add, just to add a little bit more context. So yeah.
Mhm. Thank you for that. So, like we have talked enough about casual relationship. Now we
Hmm.
should shift our focus toward serious relationship.
Okay.
Like, what if I want to be in a committed relationship also while preparing for UPSC? Or what if I'm already in a committed relationship while I'm preparing for UPSC?
Okay.
So, what should I do in those situations?
Hmm. So so see, relationships require a great deal of time, effort, and energy from both the parties, right? And yes, they can be a source of emotional fulfillment, but it also requires a lot of sensibilities and emotional intelligence as well, right? And so ideally, I would say, if you're in your first few years of preparation, right? Let's say if it is your first attempt, second attempt, or even your, let's say it is your third attempt or so. So if you're in the first couple of attempts, then you should try to maintain whatever relationship status you had before you even began your preparation. So let's say if you were single before, try maintaining that relationship status. Like at least for the initial few years of your preparation. And let's say if you were committed if you were already in a relationship before you started your preparation, then try maintaining it. And the reason I'm saying this is simply because any change in relationship status can potentially disturb your emotional stability. And so let's say if you've been single and you enter into a new relationship, the excitement of the honeymoon period can, can really derail your entire preparation. So if you've been in a relationship and you break up, the hurt and the emotional baggage can again jeopardize your preparation. So that is why, at least for the first few years of your preparation, which are the most crucial parts, which kind of forms the foundation of your entire preparation, at least for those periods, try to maintain whatever relationship status you had before you even began the preparation, right? And if, let's say, if you were in your advanced attempts, then it will eventually catch up to you that, this need for deeper emotional connection will eventually come up, right? Because of, so many years of isolation, it kind of catches up, right? And in this case, first of all, don't feel guilty about it, right? uh, I have during this during mains 2024, I was working with one of the aspirants who had these kinds of feelings, where he was where he very very strongly felt the need for emotional connection. And and he was judging himself a lot for having this need within him in the first place, right? And this had created such a big internal conflict for him that he was for 1.5 months of the entire mains time that you get, for 1.5 months he was not even able to study anything. I'll not say study anything, but not to his satisfaction, right? And this is very very problematic, right? You already get very very limited time for mains, and then you're wasting 1.5 months over these kinds of things, right? So first of all, it is very important that you don't guilt shame yourself, right? Guilt or shame yourself into, for feeling these things, right? And it's completely okay to have these feelings. And moreover, you need to be very intentional, very intentional about seeking connections when you are when you're preparing for UPSC. I would say that it is best to avoid seeking relationships as a means to escape away from the stress, or or just only as a means to get your desires, or your needs fulfilled. That's a very myopic way of looking at relationships as such. But instead, look for connections which can be which can add more value to your life, and which are more supportive towards your professional goals as well. Certain, relationships require certain give and take, right? And the more maturely and the more responsibly you can act, the better it will be for both the parties. So I would say, even when if you do choose to get into a relationship at whatever point, ensure that you're that both of you are acting in more mature ways, right? So and probably also have healthy boundaries. That will also be very very important. So yeah, that would be my take on this situation.
Okay. So, Does void play a role in committed relationships also?
Yes. So while while we might seek emotional fulfillment, and we might actually receive emotional fulfillment from our romantic relationships, but it is still possible that the void may still be existing, right? And it might often manifest as unhealthy patterns of behavior within the relationship. So let's say, you know how some people show over dependence on their partners for validation, right? Or over dependence on them to fill their emotional gaps, or for they're very very clingy to their partners. Or for others, you may observe that some people project their insecurities or their negativities onto their partners, right? In some other cases you may even see one partner trying to control the other person, right? So all these things are kind of signs where even in a committed relationship, the void that we feel, it might be at play and it might be influencing how we are behaving in that relationship. And these are only a few examples. There can be many others. But essentially, in a sense, I would say that if you, or if you yourself, if you're identifying yourself or your partner behaving or showing unhealthy ways of engaging with each other, then it might be an indication of a void at play. And again, in that case, seeking professional help becomes very very important.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights.
Mm-hmm.
Last, Lastly, I would like to know some tips or your recommendations on how we can balance between UPSC and romantic relationships.
Okay, so I think again, like the most important thing, as I've mentioned a couple of times earlier as well, is emotional stability, right? So whenever you're preparing for, whenever you're preparing for your exam, it is important that you are able to maintain your emotional stability, right? And whether you achieve this stability by being in a relationship or by being single, that's again your call. Uh, but you should know, you should be able to prioritize you should be able to prioritize your emotional stability over anything else if you're serious about cracking UPSC. One would be that you're always prioritizing emotional stability, that you're able to maintain that cool and calm space, so that you're not getting overly excited or overly becoming anxious about things and stuff. So that would be one thing that you need to be mindful of. Apart from that, you need to be able to guard your precious time as well. So a lot of time what happens is that we time you might have observed like people who are spending hours on late night calls, or let's say they might want to have a group study sessions, and when in the name of group study they're only talking to each other about random things, right? So these things kind of tend to happen. So you need to be very mindful of how you're spending time. Once in a while if you're doing these things, it's completely fine, like nothing to worry about. It's just that you need to be mindful of that you're not overdoing these things. Don't compromise on your studies or your sleep for these for these kinds of things. So in fact I would recommend that pre-scheduling quality time with your partner at a frequency that works for both of you, that might be very very helpful here. Um, so apart from that, I would say the one very important thing is that you must try not making your partner your only human connection beyond your family, right? So I've seen cases where where one partner only has their their romantic partner as the sole human connection outside their family. And this especially happens because when we are preparing for UPSC, we kind of isolate ourselves from us from the social circle that we once had, right? So at max we might end up in a situation where I have only one best friend, and then I have only one partner, and then it's my family, and that is all. So that kind of puts you in a very very vulnerable state. So anything, if if God forbid anything wrong happens with the relationship, then your mental stability, your emotional stability, your mental health, that goes for a toss, right? So avoiding these kind of these kinds of situations might be best. So for that, what you can do is if you can have a peer group of UPSC UPSC people who are preparing, and if you just have that kind of a group, so that can help you get your social needs fulfilled as well, and it might help you to not be overly dependent on one or two people, right? So it's important that even during your UPSC preparation, while there's some value to isolating yourself and while like guarding your time and everything. But at the same time, we need to remember that we are human, we are humans, we are social animals. So having that, the right kind of balance between maintaining your privacy and maintaining your guarding your time and socializing with others, so that kind of becomes a little bit important. um, and at any time, it goes without saying that if you're stuck with difficult emotions, or if you find yourself unable to adequately manage your preparation with your romantic relationships, please don't hesitate to seek help, right? And is there anything else? I think, yeah, I would go with these. All right, so let me see if there are any questions. Siddharth, can you break it down a little bit so that I'm able to understand it? So I'm going for a friendship, but despite knowing this person, the other person go all in for the relationship to happen. Okay. But keep telling me on the face that yeah, it's friendship. Other one doing the effort in some other direction, the person goes in a very bad state. मुझे ना ये क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा समझ में कम आ रहा है. If you can break it down a little bit, so it might be a little bit easier for me to understand. Uh, in the meantime, if there's any, or like you, Siddharth, you can even unmute yourself if you want to speak. So you can unmute yourself, or if anybody else has any question, they can ask me, and I can probably help you and help you get some insights. I'm not able to. So specifically, I'm not able to understand this part. When I go by my own gut feeling, keep myself distant. When I see the other one doing the effort in some other direction, the other person goes in a very bad. I'm not able to understand this part. I need a little bit more context as to what is happening. All right. Yeah, so Siddharth, if you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute yourself and ask. If you want to type it out, you can do that. Or if anybody else has a question, they may go ahead and ask me now. And if there's no other question, then first of all, thank you all for joining this session. And I hope you were able to get some insights and some takeaways from this webinar on love, relationships, and UPSC preparation. In the upcoming webinars, we will be exploring more in depth about different aspects, right? So the next webinar that I'm planning, it will be on dealing with breakups during your UPSC preparation. Then the other one that I've planned is dealing with uh, cheating, or dealing with trust issues during your UPSC preparation. So these kinds of webinars will follow, where we will look into specific relationship issues that tend to occur during our UPSC preparation. Again, these topics are something which affects us, it affects a lot of us, but it is often not talked about very openly, right? So I'm trying to reach out I'm trying to reach out to all of you so that you are able to get some insight into these kinds of situations and be able to uh, be able to work through these things. If you have any suggestions for the webinar, or if you have any questions, or if you have any feedback for what we can do more, then you can always let me know either in the group or even right now. Yeah. And once again, thank you so much to each and every one of you for attending this webinar, and for being patiently, for being patient and for listening to me ramble about things continuously. So yeah.
Hey Vedangi.
Hi.
Can I speak like without the camera on?
Yeah, sure, sure. No issues.
सो बेसिकली मतलब ऐसा मैं पहली बार किसी से सच ऐसे बातें कर रहा हूँ, मतलब
Mm-hmm.
इस सेंस में कि मतलब व्हाट्स गोइंग इनसाइड एंड एवरीथिंग। तो मुझे दो तीन डाउट्स हैं अपने।
Okay.
मतलब पहला डाउट तो मेरा ये था कि मुझे ऐसा रिलेशनशिप लाइक ये रोमांटिक वन ऐसा वाले कोई इश्यूज नहीं है।
Mm-hmm.
क्योंकि मतलब जब मैंने स्टार्ट की थी प्रिपरेशन तभी मैंने समझ लिया था कि मैं थोड़ा ओवर एक्सप्रेसिव काइंड ऑफ इंसान हूँ, तो मुझसे
Mm-hmm.
ये चीजें हैंडल होंगी नहीं। तो
Okay.
मैं अभी राइट नाउ आई एम सिंगल ओनली। तो अब मुझे थोड़ा ये डाउट ये है कि जो फैमिली रिलेटेड, जैसे कि मैंने जब तैयारी शुरू करी थी आई वाज ऑलरेडी वर्किंग समवेयर, सो आई
Mm-hmm.
स्टार्टेड द प्रिपरेशन क्वाइट लेट समवेयर अराउंड एट द एज ऑफ 25 26।
Okay.
So this 2025 will be my second attempt,
Mm-hmm.
and right now I have also like quit the job and full time preparing from home only. So the problem right now is लाइक जब आप घर से प्रिपरेशन करते हो और आपके सारे दोस्त ऐसे मतलब कॉर्पोरेट में होते हैं, तो ऑब्वियसली देयर इज अ आइसोलेशन काइंड ऑफ थिंग।
Mm-hmm.
और जब आप ऑनलाइन कर रहे हो तो ऑलरेडी ऑलरेडी आपके मतलब इस फील्ड में मतलब यूपीएससी की फील्ड में आपके फ्रेंड्स भी उतने होते नहीं है सच की जो
Right. Mm-hmm.
मतलब क्लोजली, तो मतलब आप घर पे हो तो आप फैमिली के अराउंड ही हो।
Mm-hmm.
अब मेरे साथ सिचुएशन ये है कि जैसे मेरी फैमिली जो है मतलब मेरी मॉम गवर्नमेंट जॉब में है, तो वो समझ नहीं है प्रोसेस क्या है, प्रॉब्लम्स क्या होती हैं। बट
Mm-hmm.
एट टाइम्स कभी कभी ऐसे वो थोड़ा सा फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग हो जाता है। तो उन चीज़ों से कैसे डील किया जा सकता है?
Frustrating for you or frustrating for your mother?
मतलब उनके लिए तो नहीं, वो तो सपोर्ट ही कर रहे हैं फुल टाइम वैसे भी। तो
Mm-hmm.
बट मेरे लिए मतलब ऐसा फ्रस्ट्रेटिंग, मतलब ऐसा भी नहीं कि वो उनकी, मुझे ऐसा कभी कभी फील होने लगता है कि like, एक लाइक एज हो गई लाइक 20, आई विल बी 27 दिस ईयर,
Mm-hmm.
नेक्स्ट ईयर। सो ऑब्वियसली एक डेट आ रही है, मतलब अराउंड 30s के आसपास आ रहा हूँ, फिर वो एज ए परमानेंट जॉब अभी है नहीं कुछ। तो
Mm-hmm.
मतलब ये कैसे लगता है कि देयर इज अ बर्डन ऑन पेरेंट्स।
Okay.
तो ये मुझे ऐसा लगता है, उनको नहीं लगता।
Mm-hmm.
तो ये सारी जो फीलिंग्स थॉट्स आ जाते हैं ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस, सो वैसे भी एक जो काइंड ऑफ लोनलीनेस है, तो इसको कंबाइन करके कैसे कुछ जैसे छोटे मोटे सजेशंस आप कुछ दे सकते हो क्या, जो ऐसे रेगुलर बेसिस पे हम चेंजेस करें?
So first of all, loneliness pe I've already done a webinar and I think it is already up on YouTube as well. So you can go back and watch that webinar. I've talked in depth about that thing, right?
ओके।
And in terms of that thing कि कि अभी एक uncertainty जो रहती है कि I'm approaching my 30s but चीजें नहीं settle हो रही and so on and so forth. For this, I would recommend that apart from UPSC, at least the least that you can do, also you can probably do is that you can focus on skill building, right? तो कई लोग वो करते हैं कि भाई साथ में कोई जॉब कर ली उसके साथ प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, दीज थिंग्स आर देयर, बट सबकी यही शिकायत होती है कि भाई जॉब के साथ यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन करना बहुत मुश्किल है, एंड आई टोटली अग्री विद दैट। बट अब ऐसा भी तो नहीं ना कि बस ही खाली बैठे रहोगे। तो उसके लिए द बेस्ट वे दैट आई सी फॉरवर्ड एंड विच आई इनफैक्ट आई माई सेल्फ डिड दैट वाज दैट आई फोकस्ड ऑन स्किल बिल्डिंग। So, if I give my example, during my so initial 4 attempts मेरे जो थे तब तक मेरा नहीं निकल रहा था यूपीएससी। तो जब तक मैंने वो जो पहले जो 4 मेरे जो प्रीलिम्स थे जब तक नहीं निकल रहा था तब तक फिर पहले 3 अटेम्प्ट सॉरी, जब जब तक मेरा प्रीलिम्स नहीं निकला था तब तक मैंने आई वॉज फोकसिंग ऑन नॉट ओनली completing माई मास्टर्स इन साइकोलॉजी, आई वॉज ऑल्सो स्किल बिल्डिंग, सो आई वॉज लर्निंग थेरेपी स्किल्स, right? And I was doing a lot of skill building courses for myself, so that कि मतलब वो बिल्कुल ऐसा ना हो कि मैं वो years को बिल्कुल ही productively यूज नहीं कर पा रही हूँ। So I always had a backup to rely on कि ठीक है अगर यूपीएससी नहीं भी if it doesn't work out I have something to fall back upon, and it was a great emotional support for me throughout that UPSC journey as well. So again, this is something that don't people do not generally explore a lot, but skill building is something which you can look up. Whatever, whichever field that you think कि अच्छा मतलब मुझे, let's say if you're a very techie kind of a person, so let's say you develop skills in data analysis, or you you learn skills related to, let's say, automation, और
या
थिंग्स लाइक दैट। सो उस टाइप की स्किल बिल्डिंग कर ली। लेट्स से यू आर अ वेरी क्रिएटिव पर्सन, तो लेट्स से आपने ग्राफिक डिजाइनिंग आप कर रहे हो या फिर आपने यूआई यूएक्स डिजाइनिंग वगैरह के कुछ शॉर्ट कोर्सेज कर लिए जो 2-3 महीने के जो शॉर्ट कोर्सेज होते हैं विच कैन हेल्प यू
या
गेट अ ग्रास्प ऑन दो स्किल्स। So those kinds of things can be very very helpful in giving you that cushion, and especially that mental cushion, मतलब आपको एक्चुअल में वो कितना लेटर ऑन हेल्प करेगा नहीं करेगा वो तो एक अलग बात होती है, बट आपको एक मेंटल क्वेश्चन भी चाहिए होता है कि हाँ आई हैव समथिंग टू फॉल बैक अपॉन। So I would say
हाँ,
keep like approaching it that ways might be helpful.
ओके, गॉट इट। और ये जो मतलब एज एक्सपेक्टेशन वाले पार्ट हैं, उस पे कुछ आप सजेस्ट करोगे क्या? लाइक एक ये जो बैक ऑफ द माइंड थॉट्स आते रहते हैं कि या पेरेंट्स माइट हैव एक्सपेक्टेशंस फ्रॉम मी एंड ऑल दैट।
See again, so expectations will always be there, right? हम लोग की खुद से भी
या
expectations होती हैं, दूसरे की भी expectations होती हैं. So
या
while all of that is there, we need to be mindful of the fact कि यूपीएससी एग्जाम में मतलब वो हमारी वर्थ नहीं डिसाइड करेगा. Whether I'm
हाँ,
clearing this exam or I'm not clearing this exam will not decide whether I am worthy as a person or not.
या
Right? So always remember that thing whenever चाहे कोई कैसा भी रिजल्ट आ रहा हो, चाहे बहुत अच्छा आ रहा हो, चाहे बहुत खराब आ रहा हो, but you need to be mindful of this thing that my worth is in my own capabilities, in my own hands, and just one success or one failure or even a number of successes or a number of failures will never be able to define my worth as a human being, right? So that
ओके,
having that thing in the back of your mind can be very very helpful. And apart from that again जब हम लोग की पेरेंट्स if I talk about our parents expectations generally ठीक है करियर वगैरह और इन सब चीजों को लेके तो होती ही हैं, but we also need to remember कि भाई सिर्फ वही एक एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं है पेरेंट्स की हमारी, राइट? सो
हाँ,
वाइल वी आर स्टिल वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स सिक्योरिंग आवर करियर एंड वाइल वी आर स्टिल वर्किंग टुवर्ड्स गेटिंग आवर करियर एस्पेक्ट सॉर्टेड, वी स्टिल नीड टू
हाँ,
रिमेम्बर कि हमारा देयर आर अदर वेज दैट आई कैन फुलफिल दोज एक्सपेक्टेशंस दैट माय पेरेंट्स हैव, right? So
या
also look at those kind of aspects, those smaller ways that you can contribute to your family and to your parents. Even those small things are also important,
या
right? So again, but one of the most important things is that you're not basing your entire worth on this particular exam. And then the second most important thing that I would say is that you're also fulfilling those expectations. हम लोग जनरली ये करते हैं ना कि जब हम एक्सपेक्टेशंस की बात करो तो हम लोग सिर्फ यही देखते हैं कि अच्छा मेरे पेरेंट्स की मेरे करियर को लेके क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन थी. बट ऐसा तो है नहीं
जी,
कि सिर्फ वही एक एक्सपेक्टेशन है मेरे पेरेंट्स को मुझसे. देयर आर अदर
या
एक्सपेक्टेशंस एज वेल, राइट? So if
या
I want to if I'm deciding that I want to be a good daughter for my parents, I can also look at look at different expectations that my parents have and probably help help in those things. So having a broader perspective will help here.
या गॉट इट। वन लास्ट क्वेश्चन।
Mm-hmm.
जैसे आपने कहा ये जर्नलिंग करनी चाहिए, मैंने बहुत बार ट्राई किया, मतलब
Okay.
वो फेजेस में होता है कि आप कुछ दिन ट्राई करते हो फिर आप छोड़ देते हो। तो मुझे एग्जैक्ट या आपकी कोई वीडियो अगर यूट्यूब पे है तो ठीक है मैं देख लूंगा, बट अगर नहीं है तो बस मुझे ये थोड़ा माइनर डिटेल्स में बता दो कि लाइक एग्जैक्टली हाउ शुड, मतलब क्या लिखना होता है उसमें, क्योंकि माइंड में बहुत से थॉट्स चल रहे होते हैं और फिर मतलब आफ्टर अ सर्टेन मतलब कुछ दिन लिखने के बाद ऐसे लगने लगता है कि यार ये तो बोरियत सी हो रही है। और फिर मतलब सेम ही प्रोसेस है, उसको जब माइंड में चल रहा है मैं बोल के ऑडियो रिकॉर्ड कर सकता हूँ, मैं टाइप करके टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ, मतलब ऐसे लिख के टाइम वेस्ट कर रहा हूँ बहुत ज्यादा अपना, ऐसा फील आने लगता है कुछ दिन बाद।
दैट इज इनफैक्ट अ गुड वे टू डू दी जर्नलिंग. मतलब ऐसा किसने बोला कि जर्नलिंग करनी है तो लिखना ही है? अब ये जो वो होता है वॉइस टू टेक्स्ट वाला जो होता है ना फीचर, कि वो आपका यू कैन जस्ट
हाँ,
स्पीक एंड आप वो दैट एआई विल कन्वर्ट योर वॉइस इनटू द टेक्स्ट मैसेज.
या
दैट जर्नल दैट मतलब बात तो सिर्फ इतनी है ना कि आपको आपको वेंट आउट करनी है, आपको फीलिंग्स अपनी बाहर निकालनी है, आप एआई से करवा लो.
ओके,
तो दैट इज नॉट अ मतलब वो अगेन मतलब पहले वो चीज रहती थी कि भाई क्योंकि आप लिख रहे हो एंड दैट इज देयर कि इवन इफ यू आर राइटिंग इट आउट वर्सेस इफ यू आर जस्ट टाइपिंग और समथिंग, तो राइटिंग इज टेंड्स टू बी बेटर. बट वेदर यू आर राइटिंग, वेदर यू आर स्पीकिंग एंड यू आर getting the technology do the writing for you, that doesn't matter. सो जर्नलिंग विल वर्क बोथ वेज कि आप एंड जो हम लोग के वेंट आउट सेशंस होते हैं, द आइडिया इज ऑल्सो दैट कि पीपल हु आर नॉट वेरी कंफर्टेबल विद जर्नलिंग, they get a chance
या
to vent out during the vent out sessions as well. So that is another way that you can probably look at you can get वो जो टॉक इट आउट वाली जो चीज होती है ना, यू कैन डू इट आइदर थ्रू जर्नलिंग और थ्रू वेंट आउट सेशंस. बस वो चीज है कि वेंट आउट सेशंस में आपके पास क्योंकि रिकॉर्डिंग वगैरह कुछ नहीं होगी, तो नॉट हैव अ ट्रैक ऑफ कि मैंने क्या क्या कब कब बोला है. बट
ओके,
जो वाला एस्पेक्ट होता है that I'm letting my emotions out, that can be fulfilled either through went out, either through journaling, or you dictating to AI कि अच्छा मुझे ये I'm feeling all these things and it is transcribing everything that you're saying.
Okay, got it.
कैन आई से समथिंग?
हम्म।
इसमें एक चीज मैं बोलना चाहूंगा कि जर्नलिंग का एक्चुअली मैंने एक बड़ी अच्छी कंपनी है, शायद आप लोग जानते हो, लेबर लॉ एडवाइजर. So they print a very good journal. So I ordered it last year. So what they do basically in their journals that उनका to do list होता है, एंड कुछ एक अकाउंटिंग का भी रहता है कि आपने कितना क्या, अगर आप अपने एक्सपेंसेस का रखना चाहते हैं टेक रिकॉर्ड.
हम्म।
एंड एट लास्ट दे ऑल्सो आस्क अ क्वेश्चन, अ थॉट प्रोवोकिंग क्वेश्चन. तो
Yeah.
वो एक चीज है. सो इफ यू डोंट वांट टू ऑर्डर दैट जनरल, वेल इट्स अ वेरी गुड इन्वेस्टमेंट इफ यू वुड लाइक टू. बट इफ यू डोंट वांट टू, यू कैन सिंपली आस्क चैट जीपीटी. तो चैट जीपीटी आपको बहुत सारे थॉट प्रोविंग के क्वेश्चंस बता सकता है ना. तो कोई कोई एक क्वेश्चन आपको जो अच्छा लगे, इसके बारे में आप आंसर करना चाहते हो, तो वो आप कर सकते हो. एंड जो लिखने वाली बात थी, डेफिनेटली आई हैव बीन डूइंग इट फॉर लाइक मेनी इयर्स. जो रिकॉर्डिंग वाला, जब मुझे लिखने का बिल्कुल मन नहीं करता, तो फिर आई रिकॉर्ड द ऑडियो एंड इट वर्क्स रियली वेल. मतलब जब मैं पुराने अपने ऑडियो सुनता हूँ, तो वो मतलब काफी इंस्पायरिंग भी होते हैं कई बार. और कई बार एक पता चलता है कि हम कितना इवॉल्व हुए अपने थॉट प्रोसेस में. तो फॉर मी जर्नलिंग, इफ आई विल से वन लाइन, तो टू नो योर सेल्फ, टू नो दाई सेल्फ, टू सेल्फ एक्चुअलाइजेशन की जर्नी में, आई थिंक जर्नलिंग बहुत हेल्प करता है. और जो वेंट आउट सेशन वाली बात कही वेदांगी जी ने, जो वर्क करते हैं एक्चुअली में, जर्नलिंग वही वाली चीज है कि हम अपनी अब सारी चीजों को जब हम लिखते हैं, इसमें लिखने और ऑडियो का भी मैं डिफरेंस बताता हूँ. जब हम ऑडियो करते हैं तो उसका एक अलग इफेक्ट होता है, बट जब हम लिखते हैं ना, तो लिखने से जो क्या होता है कि हम लिखना एक सर्टेन स्पीड तक ही लिख सकते हैं. और
हम्म।
सर्टेन स्पीड तक लिखने की वजह से हमारे जो थॉट प्रोसेस है ना, कई बार जब हम बहुत ओवर थिंकिंग कर रहे होते हैं, तो लिखने से वो थॉट का कंट्रोलमेंट भी आता है, थॉट्स का बोल सकते हो, जो ओवर थिंकिंग खत्म होती है, पता चलता है. और लिखते समय एक हमारा माइंडसेट ये होता है कि हम अच्छी अच्छी चीजें लिखें. वी डोंट वांट टू राइट बैड. तो इट ऑल्सो वर्क्स एज काउंसलिंग, कामिंग द माइंड, है ना. और उसके बाद फिर तो मतलब जर्नलिंग अपने आप में एक बहुत अच्छी चीज है, उस सारी चीजों को निकाल देने का. तो जो चीज हम मतलब एक तरह से सप्रेस करके रखी हुई है ना, तो वो काफी सही चीज लगती है मेरे को. लिखने
Uh,
की अगर मैं बात करूँ, लिखने के अपने जो फायदे हैं,
हम्म।
तो दैट्स ऑल.
If I would add two things to this, first is कि
हाँ.
जैसे अभी ये बोला कि लाइक जब हम लोग बहुत ज्यादा ही ओवर थिंक कर रहे होते हैं, उस समय इफ यू आर ट्राइंग टू राइट डाउन थिंग्स, राइट, तो उसमें एक ये फायदा होता है दैट जो अभी 50 थॉट्स एक साथ आ रहे हैं वो काइंड ऑफ इट गेट्स ऑर्गेनाइज्ड ऑल्सो. सो दैट वे इट जर्नलिंग कैन ऑल्सो हेल्प. कि अभी क्योंकि अब लिखने की स्पीड तो आपकी उतनी ही होगी ना, लाइक यू कांट राइट 50 थॉट्स एट वन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. तो जब आप लिख रहे होते हो चीजें, तो आपको अपने मन में भी काफी कुछ चीजें आपके ऑर्गेनाइज हो रही होती है माइंड में. So that is also how journaling helps. Secondly, one of the other ways that you can make journaling more helpful for you is कि पहले तो write down whatever it is that you're feeling, and then see let's say if you had a friend who was telling you the exact same things जो आपने लिखी हैं, तो how would you counsel that friend? तो उसी तरीके से start writing, after you have talked about whatever things were there which were concerning you, start writing about things कि एज अ फ्रेंड अगर आप ये चीज अगर आपको कोई बता रहा होता है तो आप उसको क्या बोलते हैं. Start writing down those things. That kind of help get helps you get things into perspective. So that is also there.
या एक्चुअली 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 फ्यू इयर्स बैक मैं काउंसलिंग ले रहा
Mm-hmm.
था, काइंड ऑफ थेरेपी. तो उन्होंने डिटैचमेंट, तो हम सब जानते हैं कि डिटैचमेंट के बहुत सारे फायदे होते हैं, है ना. बट बिफोर डिटैचमेंट कम्स अ प्रोसेस ऑफ एक्सेप्टिंग एंड एक्नॉलेजमेंट. तो
Mm-hmm.
उन्होंने मुझे सजेस्ट किया था, लाइक डिसाइड अ टाइम, 15 मिनट्स, 20 मिनट्स, 30 मिनट्स, एनी टाइम यू वांट, एंड जस्ट डू द फ्री राइटिंग. जो भी माइंड में आ रहा है ना, बस उसको लिखना चालू कर दो, और उस पेज को फाड़ के फेंक दो. बट जो वो फ्री राइटिंग करेंगे ना, तो उस वजह से जो भी हमारे दिमाग में जो उधेड़ बुन है, वो कहीं ना कहीं एक निकलती है, और वो इतना रिलीविंग होता है. मतलब लोग बहुत ज्यादा उसको करने के बाद बहुत रिलीफ फील करते हैं, बहुत ज्यादा हल्का महसूस करते हैं. इवन आई व्हेन आई ट्राइड इट, तो आई वाज वेरी मच एबल टू टू गो ऑन द प्रोसेस ऑफ डिटैचमेंट. वो बहुत अच्छी चीज है एक्चुअली में.
Again, so I would just add this thing here कि while
या.
it is no doubt it is very very helpful. Even in my times when I was not I was not doing very very emotionally well. At those points, even I have tried journaling and everything. So while all of these things are there, just one thing that I would add, that for some people it might still be the case that journaling might not help them. Why? Simply because for some people they might not be very comfortable with writing down their they might be not so expressive with their emotions and with their thoughts. तो वो चीज भी होती है. Like I remember before I became a therapist, like one of my school friends had approached me, and he like we were just discussing, and I was telling him the same thing कि भाई मुझे लिखने से बहुत फायदा मिलता है, so you should write down things whichever are like whatever is coming to your mind. He spent 5 days trying to write one paragraph of whatever he was feeling, but उससे एक paragraph नहीं लिखा जा रहा था. So there are people who might struggle with journaling. So there there are other ways of doing the same process. So that is there. So just wanted to add that thing कि while it is helpful, but अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपसे वो चीज नहीं हो पा रही, तो उसके लिए लोड मत लो. It's okay. There are different things for work for different people. Yeah.
या साइकोलॉजी में शायद एक कॉन्सेप्ट भी है कि डिफरेंट पीपल लर्न फ्रॉम विद द डिफरेंट थिंग। कोई विजुअल पसंद करता है, कोई ऑडियो
Right.
पसंद करता है, या कोई लिखना पसंद करता है, रीडिंग पसंद
So just give me a
करता
moment. Siddharth has, I think, clarified a little bit. So let me go through it once again.
In between, Vedangi, thank you, and Web also
All
thank you
right.
for the.
Okay. Um, okay, Siddharth. So, okay, so the situation that you're describing is basically that there's another person with whom you are trying to maintain a friendship, while the other person sometimes acts in ways that as if she was seeking a relationship, and but she keeps saying that no, it is only a friendship, right? And so if you take a step back, then it kind of becomes a problem for you, right? So first of all, again, we were having that discussion about void, right? So this might be one of the ways that a void might be at play for her, for the other partner that you're telling, right? And again, we need to be responsible for our own well-being and for our own how how we are handling ourselves and all these things. So at some point you might if these things are happening again and again, if these things are if these things are creating more problem for you, then you might need to have a more more healthy boundaries with her of how you want to interact and what kind of behaviors you want to encourage, while what are the behaviors that you would like to keep away from, right? So instead of completely shutting her or completely moving away from the entire relationship, what you can probably explore is what are the behaviors that I'm comfortable with as a friend of hers, and what are the behaviors that I'm not comfortable with having her as a friend, right? So and then creating that distinction ki ठीक है, while we are interacting, if these xyz things are happening which I'm not comfortable with, I would probably I would clearly express my my objections to that, while being very very respectful as well. Well, ऐसा नहीं कि if I'm expressing my objections, so I'm putting the other person down. So not that way, but very politely and very gently I'm reaffirming my boundaries कि भाई ये चीज देखो मुझे नहीं पसंद है. बाकी I'm still friends with you. I'm having a conversation with you. We might still hang out, but these are my boundaries that I would probably like to enforce while we are only having a friendship, right? So again, यहाँ पे boundaries की बात आ जाती है, and if you if you see the other person trying to trying to seek more and so on and so forth, तो उन सब cases में the case might be of a void, and probably recommend her to visit a mental health professional. Not in not saying कि अरे भाई तुम्हें कुछ हो गया है and so on and so forth, but just as a as something that she can probably explore even for her personal development also, not only for ऐसा नहीं कि mental health professional को आप तभी visit करोगे जब आपको कुछ बहुत major issue होगा. You can even go to a mental health professional for your personal development as well. So probably explore these kinds of things. But having healthy boundaries is something which is important. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Any other question? Anyone? So Prasoon and Vaibhav are having their own separate conversation. Okay. M, do you have any question? Or Siddharth, do you have any follow-up question?
I have one question. Can we exchange our Telegram ID, like we can talk on, because here everyone's time will be wasted. That's why it's a personal question.
So you want to speak to me on a personal basis?
No, to Prashun only.
प्रसून, ओके, ऑलराइट, ठीक है,
Yeah.
आप उससे पूछ लो. Siddharth, I have answered this part. I am recording this webinar, so you can probably go back and revisit the answer that I've given. If there's anything else, you may let me know. M, is there any question that you have? Otherwise, we can conclude. One new message. Okay. Hi, M. Siddharth, you can go back to the recording and you can revisit the answer. Hi, M. If you have a question, please go ahead and ask. You can unmute yourself if you want.
I think some days back some girl message, और अभी भी उन्होंने शायद chat में message किया था, but she went without listening the answer.
आप ये मुझे बता रहे हो या आप रसूल को बता रहे हो?
मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ.
क्या चीज, मुझे फिर से बताना.
एक्चुअली उन्होंने मैसेज किया था टेलीग्राम पर. आई थिंक वही थी शायद, निशिता नाम था उनका, फिर उन्होंने बाद में नाम चेंज करके एनबी कर लिया था.
ओके.
तो शी हैड सम पर्सनल इश्यूज. उन्होंने मैसेज में भी शेयर किया था, टेलीग्राम ग्रुप पर भी, और फिर अभी यहाँ भी सेम मैसेज शेयर किया था, बट शी
यहाँ
इज
पे
डिलीटिंग इट
मैंने
अगेन एंड
देखा
अगेन.
नहीं. यहाँ पे
मे भी
मुझे
शायद यहाँ
सुबह
पे भी
से ही
डिलीट
दिख
कर
रहा
दिया,
है.
यहाँ पे भी डिलीट कर दिया हो सकता है.
Okay, actually, I'm facing social anxiety, and due to that, it becomes difficult for me to make friends. And I would need a little bit more context. If you need, if you want more help regarding that, you can connect with me on a one-to-one basis, and we can probably discuss that a little bit more. मतलब अभी सिर्फ इतने कॉन्टेक्स्ट से मुझे अभी नहीं समझ में आ रहा कि क्या सिचुएशन है, कि what is the social anxiety about and what is the exact situation. So again, social anxiety is something which can be a little bit debilitating. Again, working with somebody who is who can help you with that thing will be helpful. So if you want to speak to me on that, you can always come. You can always come back to me. My Telegram ID is Vedangi Singh only. So right. And yeah, so okay, one before we end this webinar, there's just one caveat that I wanted to add, that so self-help is different from therapy and counseling, right? सेल्फ हेल्प में हम लोग उस बारे में बात करते हैं कि आप अपने लेवल पे आप कैसे अपने मेंटल हेल्थ का ध्यान रख सकते हो, कैसे अपने मेंटल एंड इमोशनल वेलबींग का आप ध्यान रख सकते हो. बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू थेरेपी एंड काउंसलिंग, वी सो इट्स मोर इन टर्म्स ऑफ, अगर हम लोग हेल्थ वाली फील्ड के बारे में जैसे अगर बात करते हैं, तो जैसे प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन होती है, वैसे ही सेल्फ हेल्प होता है. दैट सेल्फ हेल्प इज हेल्पिंग यू टू प्रिवेंट getting into trouble, right? But let's say if there are certain issues that you are currently facing, in that case, you might, it might be a better idea that instead of only and only exploring self-help, that you also take professional help. And especially if you find that self-help से मुझे फायदा नहीं हो रहा है, या even I'm doing those self-help things again and again, but I'm still being stuck in that same loop of the behavior that I was earlier stuck with. So in those kinds of cases, it might be helpful that you visit any mental health professional. Again, as I mentioned earlier, visiting a mental health professional, whether for elevating any emotional trouble that you might be going through, or even for your own personal growth and development. Both of the cases can be true. And with that, I would conclude this webinar. Thank you all for attending the webinar. If you have any questions, any suggestions, you can leave that in the comments in the YouTube. Once I upload this video on the YouTube. So whenever I get time, I'll respond to those questions as well. So thank you all. Have a good night and bye bye. I'll see you next time. And also soon they, हाँ जैसे उससे पहले तो हो जाएगा ना एक और सेशन, ठीक है? So I'll wish happy new year next time. Okay, bye bye.
Thanks, Vedangi.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.